Give me the code. All righty, and we're here live. Another day that ends in Y. Happy Monday, everybody. My co-host, Carol Moulton from Yelm, Washington, is here with me, and we are so happy and excited to be here right now, sharing with you about this life-saving technology and some other interesting facts. So, hi, Carol.
Hi there. Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. And the group just continues to grow. We just added a professor, as I mentioned to you before, from the University of Florida, which is pretty exciting. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and I'm going to share, I'll share real briefly our little disclaimer just to be compliant, although let's see, here we go. We'll go straight to our disclaimer. Yes, you see that we have the FDA registered logo here because our patches are made in FDA compliant class 1. They're FDA compliant class 1 medical devices, and they're made in FDA registered facilities. So our disclaimer is the patches are not intended to treat, prevent, or cure any disease. Sidebar, because only pharmaceuticals can do that. Back to the disclaimer. We do not heal, cure, treat, or diagnose, nor do we offer protocols. Sidebar, because only pharmaceuticals are allowed to do that. Back to the disclaimer. The suggestions do not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a qualified licensed healthcare professional. Sidebar, that would be your doctor, your primary care physician, whoever it is that you've selected to be the person that is your medical professional that is going to be taking care of you and who you know, like, and trust. Okay, back to the disclaimer. We strongly recommend you consult with your doctor concerning your specific health challenge and treatment needed. There are no medical claims that are being made with the suggestions here. So when we do talk about this life-saving technology, it's better than med technology. It is the most powerful device. And I would agree with Dr. Stacy Hallweger. She's a double PhD. I think she has a pretty good idea what she's talking about, being that she's a double PhD. And she says that it's the most powerful device on the planet today. And I would have to concur. I would have to agree with her. When we say no medical claims are being made with the suggestions here, is because of the 90 clinical scientific studies done with double-blind placebos. They were done in the United States, Europe, as well as Asia. None of them were just for, let's say, we didn't have a study that just did XYZ condition, whether it's a syndrome, whether it's a disease, whether it's a condition. We didn't have a research study that just dealt with people just with one particular condition. People had all sorts of different things going on with them. And so we had up to 120 subjects for each one of those 90 studies. And so these are general wellness products. Kind of, if you're familiar with the EE system, it's kind of the same thing. That's a general wellness device. The device isn't what fixes you, just like the patches don't fix you. The patches are a device that are mechanically redirecting your infrared light back into your body to create this reaction, which is turning on a third of your previously dormant master smart cells. So with that being said, now that we've kind of clarified that, it works when there's more of you turned on. If I only had 50% of my energy, obviously I'm going to function better with 100% of my energy, right? Or better than if I only had 10% of my energy. And in essence, that's what you're doing. You are using a mechanical device to activate 33% of your previously dormant master smart cells, which are going to repair, regenerate, and restore everything. So with that being said, I just had somebody today who asked me, why not just use just the mother cell activation patch, just X39? And I do get that question quite often. And so I'm going to address that now. And I'm going to do that by going specifically to, instead of the next slide, we're going to skip over this. I'm going to go straight to we have these bullet points. Some of you who are watching on YouTube Live, you'll be aware that we already, hey, I'm having a little bit of a challenge here finding, oh, here we go. I accidentally had it covered up. So some of you already know that we have a Telegram group where once you get started on the patches, then we add you to this group. We have over, if you see here, we have over 7,800 people, all of whom are on the patches. I have a smaller intimate group here where this is about 200 people who are also all on the patches. In fact, all these groups here, everyone in these groups all are on the patches. And then for those of you who find me on YouTube or find me on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, I started this group because so many of you were asking for more information. So we have this group here called the Activation Patch Info and Support Group. So we can answer questions there too. But getting back to the difference between the 39 and 49, and that's what I want to address, because some people say, well, it's like, can I just use just one patch? Of course you can. You can use just one patch, just like if you choose, you can just eat meat and not eat anything else. And then you won't have the benefit from the vegetables that you probably should be eating as well, and from the carbs, which you should be eating as well. And it's about taking care of your entire body, not just taking care of one aspect. And that is our most powerful patch without a shadow of a doubt, the X39, because that turns on a third of your previously dormant stem cells. But we're going to say master smart cells because the FDA doesn't like us saying that they activate those master smart cells. So I can say master smart cells, but they don't want me saying stem cells, that they activate stem cells. So we're going to cross our T's, dot our I's, and be good here. So with that being said, you can see here that this resets a third of your genes to a younger, healthier state. It repairs cellular damage, restores collagen because it increases your collagen. One of the things that happens when you put the mother cell activation patch on is that it activates P63 protein and it turns on GHKCU copper peptide. Peptides are small chain amino acids that make up a protein. For those of you who are more scientific and like more of the science and are neuro nerdy, that's a self-proclaimed term that I give myself. Neuro nerdy means that we like to study, learn, and understand how all this stuff kind of works. For those of you who don't care about that, don't worry, I'll give you the bottom line as well. But this is kind of giving you a laundry list of what just this one patch is doing. So like I said, it's restoring and increasing your collagen. Collagen is the #1 building block for tissue and skin throughout the entire body, inside and out. That's including the tissue of your organs. This rebuilds your scar tissue because it replaces scar tissue with the original tissue. Increases sexual libido. It increases your antioxidants, anti-aging, anti-inflammation. Provides you pain relief anywhere from 50 to 100% within 3 to 4 minutes. Improves your hair growth and improves sleep. So basically, it's doing this massive reset just with that one patch. But as you're very, very aware, we live in this microwave society. And when I say this microwave society, I don't mean just the little boxes that we have in our kitchens called microwaves, because we are literally being microwaved with radio frequencies and also from the frequencies that come from LED lights and the frequencies that we get from all the different electronics. The nickname or the acronym for that is EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, which is a very serious problem. And some people have a great degree of sensitivity, more so than the average person, for reasons that we're not going to get into today. But we also have 5G cell towers, and we have internet. The internet goes through radio frequencies and electronic magnetic frequencies. Even though we can't see them with a naked eye, we definitely have devices to measure these things, right? And so all that wreaks havoc with our body, because there is a natural amount of electromagnetic frequencies that we do get from the sun, Oh, you've all heard about the Schumann resonance, right? The Schumann resonance, 7.38 hertz frequency that comes from the sun. And that's a natural amount that, our bodies can withstand that because we're designed, just as the sun is 42% infrared light. We're all infrared light beings. That's the light band frequency that our bodies work on. However, we were not designed to be in a microwave environment where we're totally being microwaved 24/7, not just from the use of a microwave oven, but from the LED lights. In fact, if you want to learn more about the LED lights and the detriments and how it's causing all sorts of things, and most people are unaware of why it is that they have chronic inflammation, issues with pre-diabetic conditions or insulin resistance, not to mention aging much faster than they used to before. A lot of it is the microwave factor. And so that's where this second patch comes in. One of the benefits that you get is radiation poisoning relief from that particular patch. So this helps radiation poisoning. It gives you relief from that because of the tissue repair. When you wear the 49 patch, the daughter patch with the mother, now you have increased lean muscle mass. Now, as we age, all mammals, there's no exceptions, all mammals, as they age, they lose lean muscle mass. What you don't use, you lose. So if you continue to use your muscles and get out there and walk, run, sprint, garden, ride bikes, ride motorbikes, motorcycles, like Carol and myself. I don't ride motorcycles, but I do ride long distance bikes and so forth. But the bottom line is that what you don't use, you lose. And as we age, we do lose lean muscle mass and strength. But if you're using your muscles, then you don't lose it. Your muscles have, they call it muscle memory, but muscle per se doesn't necessarily age the way the rest of the body does. But again, if you have other conditions that are preventing you from doing those activities, then of course you're going to lose your bone density because your muscles, as they lose mass and strength, then it's putting less stress on the bones, which is going to cause an atrophy of the bones as well. An atrophy of the bones just means the breaking down and the diminishing use of the bones because the density will lessen and lessen and lessen. So this X49 patch increases your energy. And in addition to that, it increases your cardiovascular system and your focus because it helps with memory, focus, and brain processing speed. It protects you, like I said before, from the EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, Wi-Fi, radiation poisoning from your laptop, desktop, iPad, notepad, cell phone, etc., and all the electronics that you have in your home, your work, wherever you go out in public, cars, trains, automobiles, boats, you name it. Pretty much every vehicle has LED lights in it. So LED lights and electromagnetic frequencies. So that is very paramount. The other thing is that X49 patch also helps burn what belly fat that you would normally have on you if you have any belly fat. It will burn that first before using the blood sugars that you have from the most recent meal that you ate. So, for example, for those of you who watched last Friday's live video that I did at 2 p.m. Pacific time, you will have heard Clint come on there, and he said that he actually lost 28 pounds from wearing the patches for the last, 7 or 8 months. And that's not uncommon. We have a lot of people who, if they were overweight when they started on the patches, they've lost weight as a result of being on the patches. And because this patch also helps with bone density and increasing your bone density, needless to say, if at some point in the past you were diagnosed and informed that you had osteoporosis, well, osteoporosis, as you may or may not be aware, is not a sickness. It's not a disease. Osteoporosis is, if you break down the meaning of the word osteoporosis, osteo means bone, porosis means porous. And so it's just a descriptor that your bone is porous. But as I mentioned before, all mammals. As we age, not only do we lose lean muscle mass and strength, but we also have our bones become more porous as we age. There's something called glycation, which has to do with your body's ability to process glucose in it. And so as you glycate and process that glucose, kind of deteriorates the cartilage in between the joints of, if these were two bones, they're coming together. Usually you don't have bone on bone. Usually you have bone, you have cartilage, and then you have another bone, right? And so that cartilage breaks down and it glycates, and then the bones become more porous simultaneously, which could be kind of painful depending on what other things you have going on in the body. So these two patches, we call them, the two are called the dynamic duo, and they work in tandem with each other very, very well. In this day and age of all these EMFs, we're being microwaved literally from the radio frequencies, from the microwave frequencies, and everything else that I mentioned before. I can't think of a single person in any country, anywhere on the planet, that wouldn't benefit from having the minimum of those two patches for the reasons that I just shared with you guys. Carol, I don't know if you have any questions or any comments about that. I know you have a lot of personal firsthand experience wearing these two patches, and also what it's like to not wear one of the patches for whatever reason. It is an interesting, don't want to say experiment, but an interesting experience for whatever reason, life happens. And sometimes we have to go out without, I've had people who've had to go out without the patches for 10 days, or sometimes even as many as 30 days. And boy, they can tell the difference. Do you want to share some of your insights?
Well, I first got on the patches and noticed right away my fibrillation, atrial fibrillation of my heart stopped. That all stopped and has never come back. Even
it froze. Looks like we lost your video. I hope you come back. I think the internet, I know different parts of the country are having challenges with storms and the internet. So I don't know.
there?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I don't see you.
Can you hear me, Lillian?
I can hear you. I can hear you now. I just can't see your.
Something happened. I'm not
Oh,
on
your
there now.
your
It just
camera
went
came
up,
back
went
on.
off.
All righty. So you said your atrial fibrillation
No, I'm
totally stopped.
I don't see you.
You don't see me
Yeah.
now.
There, now I see you.
Okay, good.
Okay. Anyway, that all went away, and that has not come back. It's been fine ever since. My blood pressure is fine. My oxygen level is fine. All of those things that were kind of compromised when I went through, we'll say, a broken heart when my husband passed, and I had not been sick or had heart problems at all. But that all changed when I got on the patches. And I recognized it because I've done, healing things over the years. And I recognized that these patches had a value to them that was very powerful, even though they're a tiny little thing here. And this helped my shingles. It was in my eye and my forehead here. So I'm finding that the patches are doing what has been said about them, waking up the stem cells. And I fortunately understand a little bit about stem cells, and it's really good that they're waking up. Especially I'm 84, and I'm done with aging. Or I'm going to I've noticed, that's another thing that I have noticed, that some of the things that I remember as a younger, very young person has come forth again. Little answers and things to do. I thought, oh, I did this when I was 5 years old. That kind of stuff is very noticeable, and I recognize it. So I'm very pleased. I'm
Yeah,
very,
yeah, that's very pleasing. And it's interesting that you're remembering at 84 about things when you were in elementary school and when you were,
yeah,
you were 5 years old or whatnot. I was just talking to somebody this weekend, and this gal, I mentioned something to her, because she asked me something about the patches. And I was really surprised when she said to me, because I told her, I'm like, oh, I remember being in kindergarten and, had surgery in my eyes. I was wearing patches on my eyes because, they didn't want you to, because I had stitches on both sides of my eyes. And she said, you remember that surgery from when you were 5? And I said, oh, yeah, absolutely. And she's like, oh, I don't remember anything from elementary school.
oh, really?
Yeah. I go, you don't remember anything from elementary school, like not even fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth grade? She goes, nope. And
Oh, my,
I was actually, that was at a birthday party that I was at. And this is someone who is not that old. If I had to say how old she was, I know she has a daughter who's like in elementary school, like first or second grade. So it's probably someone who's, by looking at her, I'd probably say she's like 30 or 35 years old.
oh,
And she doesn't remember elementary school at all.
oh my goodness sakes. I
So
remember it more and more all the time.
yeah, and so there's a lot of people running around. Now we can get into, again, I repattern the brain from physical and emotional trauma. There's obviously some sort of trauma that took place
Yeah,
probably,
yeah,
before the age of 8, that will make you not remember because your body's trying to protect you and your brain's trying to protect you. So it'll isolate those things and make sure that it puts it in the deep recesses of your storage of your memory so that you don't remember it, so that you're not re-traumatized. But there's probably some sort of trauma there. But the bottom line is that we do recover long and short-term memory on the patches, and we've had so many people who recover short and long-term memory as a direct result. I mean, they didn't have the strides in improvement until they were on the patches.
right.
And then, again, we don't make medical claims, but we've had people who were diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia or had senility or different types of senescence. And they get on the patches, and in the first 30 days, I mean, they notice in the first week, their loved ones who, are their caretakers, they're like, wow, we can tell a big difference of just, the first week on the patches, let alone 30 days go by, 2 months go by. And these people regain a lot of things that they have lost over the last 10, 20 years. Now
Right.
it's back in months.
And I can see why, because when you talk about the patches and how they fold up as we age, and what the patches are doing are facilitating unfolding of that and reversing that aging process. So it's by listening to you and the understanding of more and more of the patches, I can totally appreciate that is very worthwhile.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
is, yeah,
and then as you understand what it is that your own body is the one that's doing the reparation, you're turning more of yourself on,
yes,
whether you're on a whatever, because many people are on prescription meds. So whether
yeah,
you're on prescription meds, over the counter meds, whether you're going and maybe you're undergoing some sort of treatment, maybe you're getting hyperbaric oxygen therapy, whatever treatment, whatever thing you're undergoing, you'll best be suited with more of your original master smart cells working to repair, restore, and regenerate everything than when less of you. It's the same thing as comparing somebody at 30 receiving this treatment is going to fare better than someone who is 70, 80, 90, or 100 years old, just because you regenerate faster at the younger age than you do the older age.
right, right,
And you put the patches on and your body, let's say if you're 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years old, you put the patches on, your body's behaving like a 30-year-old body because now it has 33% more master smart cells on. So, well, yeah, no wonder your body responds because it's you. That's the way your body would have responded if you were 25, 30, 35 years old. So it's like, okay, even if it's drinking, I've had people who have drunk a fair amount of alcohol all day long And normally they have a hangover the next day. This is not an advocacy for drinking. I'm just telling you a younger body doesn't get hung over as easily as an older body. So,
Right.
and it has to do with your liver is newer, your kidneys are newer. So you're able to detox more efficiently because you have 50 to 75% of your original master smart cells, right? So the
Right.
regeneration and detoxification is more efficient. That's all. And so this particular person who's in their mid-50s, the next day, first of all, that evening, she woke up 5 times that evening, and she kept on going to the bathroom because her kidneys were very effective at getting rid of all those toxins. It didn't want those toxins staying in there, right? And then the next day, even though she only had slept like 5, 6 hours, she woke up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, no hangover. And she goes, I should have had a hangover because I drank all day Saturday. We were at the river. We were partying, having a great time on the boat. Zero hangover. Felt fantastic that next day. And then things just continued to improve. And I said, yeah, that's because your body became much more efficient at detoxification. And it didn't matter if it was drinking alcohol, eating crappy food, inhaling environmental toxins, absorbing it through your skin. Your body is better equipped when you have more of your original blueprint turned on. So it's just makes sense. So that's why it doesn't matter what your condition, what your diagnosis, what your disease. The only exception to that are people who have an organ transplant where they're taking an anti-rejection drug so that the cells, the original master smart cells from the donor, doesn't interact with
Right.
yours, because otherwise your immune system can attack that
Right.
foreign organ and treat it like it's a tumor or like it's a germ or a virus, and it could make all of your body sick in an effort to purge whatever that organ is that you've transplanted. You had a pig valve, doesn't matter, that's fine. But if it's a full organ like a kidney, liver transplant, heart transplant, then you can't use the patches because of that anti-rejection drug. That's not to say that I don't have people who've had organ transplants that are on the patches. We just can't condone that. We don't have any single scientific study that would support that would be okay. So they are over the counter, and I've been surprised that people with organ transplants have, and they're having great effects, but we can't really say that I would never advise anybody.
No,
that.
that's a whole class unto itself.
Yeah, that you don't want to mess. I mean, they already had a compromise with that organ to begin with, so it's like, no, I would never. So I was surprised that, I had a few people, two people who made me aware of the fact that they've been using the pouches, and I'm like, really? I thought I was very clear not to use the patches if you have an organ transplant. But if they've taken it upon themselves to do that, again, that's their thing, and they're having a good result. Some people, even having an organ transplant and taking the anti-rejection drugs, sometimes their immune system will still go berserk, in the sense that it's like, foreign invader, and even an anti-rejection drug won't work. There's an exception to everything when it comes to people's bodies and so forth, and some people have more sensitive bodies than the other. It all just depends. So, but this is a phenomenal technology, as you're probably aware. Let's see, where are we doing on time? Gosh, it's already been half an hour. So we're gonna get into a few paragraphs of the mitochondriac manifesto.
That's wonderful.
And we're going to learn a little bit more, because of the 56 trillion cells that we do have in the body, every single one of those cells has mitochondria. Make no mistakes. So we are now on page 23. And it says here, it's pretty funny. Electrons. It says electrons are the currency of life. He has a sense of humor. Electrons are the currency of life. And he wrote currency as in current, and then currency of life. Get it? Yeah, I get it, RD.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
That is pretty cute. So let's see what he says here. And I do encourage you guys, go to Amazon, pick up the book, The Mitochondriac Manifesto by R.D. Lee. Randy, the Mitoman. If you don't want to buy the book, go to a library close to you and check it out, because I'm only sharing this content here in order to get the nitty-gritty details here. You'll get that when you get a copy of the book yourself. So it says here, all things life and health related revolve around harvesting, utilizing, and retaining electrons. I'm going to stop here because life, as a general descriptor of anything that's alive on the planet, the name of the game and the most valuable thing, separate from time, would be energy. It's all about energy and how you can collect energy and how you can preserve energy, how you can expand energy. And so, rightfully so, it says here, it's about retaining electrons, because electrons are packets of electricity, right? So our biology runs on electrons because electrons turn the gears of ATP production, and ATP is what's inside each mitochondria. So they hold electrical charge that drives our biochemistry, and they power regeneration efforts as a redox potential. We depend on electrons to live and thrive on because electrons supply energy. They not only supply energy, they are packets. That's why I always talk about electrons and electrolytes, and they're both little packets of electricity. So they supply energy, healing, and fluency of cellular communications. On the other hand, electron deficiency produces positive charge, which presents itself as acidity, inflammation, low voltage, dehydration, and weak regeneration of cells and mitochondria. Of course, this accelerates aging. We don't like that. To say it more simply, electrons support life, while a lack thereof creates weakness, disorder, aging, and premature death. We get electrons from 4 sources. And it says from grounding. So get your hands and feet on the ground, touch that tree, not just with your knee, but both hands. Touch those trees to get your energy. Grounding, sun exposure. Absolutely. And it's free to touch a tree or to touch the grass or the dirt or to get sun. It's free, free, free. Sun exposure. 3, food. Of course, food, because food is outside, cattle, fish, you name it, not to mention the lettuce, tomatoes, all vegetation. It's getting, photosynthesis. So food. Notice you're starting to see the common denominator of how we're all bringing energy through these different mediums, right? And then it says number 4, burning stored fat. Water quality, quantity, and how tightly your mitochondrial proteins are coupled, then increase or decrease energy yield from those electrons. I'm going to read that one more time so you catch that. So it says, water quality, quantity, and how tightly your mitochondrial proteins are coupled, which means that they're paired, then increase or decrease energy yield from those electrons. So if they're super tight, it's going to make a difference if they're super tightly coupled, like wound together, or if they're kind of more loose. Will depend on how fast or how slow the energy is emitted, the yield that comes from that. So it says plants are like batteries that are always plugged in. So you can think of a plant as having a wire because their roots are wires into the earth, as opposed to having a battery that you take in and take out. They have a direct wiring into the earth. So they have a perpetual source of energy from their roots and from basically the leaves that you see from above are almost the same. So to the degree that you have all these branches above, you have the same thing in terms of a root system that goes down into the earth. So that's like a direct plug into the earth and a direct plug into the sun, right? Plants are like batteries that are always plugged in, and they're designed to be connected to the earth 24/7 their entire lives. That allows their roots to gather electrons from the soil and their foliage to harvest photons from the sun. Those two things, grounding and sunlight, combine to make plants like batteries that are always plugged in. That's why plants don't need to eat food or store fat in the same way that we do. Instead, they harvest whatever energy they can from the sun, soil, and air through the photoelectric effect. Their chloroplasts, which are like mitochondria for plants, then convert the light, water, and carbon dioxide they collect into sugar via photosynthesis. They store relatively little of that food sugar for leaner times because they're being connected to a source of sustenance full time. They expect their next meal to be served each time the sun comes up in the morning. On the other hand, and it says here, humans are designed to be unplugged and mobile. So for us, we don't have a direct, like, this lamp, it's connected into the wall socket, so it's got a perpetual flow of energy. It's not very mobile, as opposed to my cell phone right now is, because I had low battery, so you could see it's connected. But typically, our cell phones, we have a battery charge here, right? So it's able to leave, and it doesn't have to be connected to the source of energy. Eventually it wears out, just like our bodies eventually wear out, and we need more food. We need more water. We need more sunlight in order to recharge and to give us the energy that we need. Interesting, huh?
Very interesting.
So I never thought of the fact that plants are like a lamp that's plugged into an outlet. The plants, their roots are plugged into the earth, which is a perpetual source of energy. And that's where it gets electrons from below and electrons from the sunlight, right? And they're not mobile.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not at all. The tree is, it's rooted,
There.
it's grounded, it's there. Yeah, it's solid. So our biology is designed to collect energy from more sources, to get it sporadically and store it for later use as fat and muscle mass. So number one, we can harvest energy secondhand by eating plants. Two, we can get it third hand by eating the animals that ate those plants. Number three, we also convert our own stored fat back into usable energy. Number four, we can gather electrons directly from grounding and sun exposure. Five, and our mammalian battery gets charged up by the exposure to native light frequencies. Check out that list. It's right there in plain English. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is pretty awesome right there.
Yep.
And so we're going to close with this paragraph here where it talks about humans are designed to be unplugged and to be mobile, which is very, very true. And it says here, point being, macronutrients such as fat, carbs, proteins are basically storage containers for the sun's energy until we eat them, and our mitochondria release those energy resources as electrons, protons. Yeah, it releases those energy resources as electrons, protons, and light. This is why plants need to be plugged into nature their entire lives to get their energy needs met. Chloroplasts and chlorophyll-based metabolism, whereas animals can charge up their batteries whenever and wherever they can from the food they eat. We've basically got energy storage tanks in the form of fat and muscle mass, conversion machinery in the form of mitochondria, and processes like ketosis, which is fat burning, let us move around and survive the feast and famine of daily and seasonal cycles. So there you have it, my friends and gems. It just keeps getting more and more interesting. I love the way he has this book organized. I got to say, the way he expresses it, the way he explains it, the way he organizes it. And he's kind of funny. I love it. Electrons are the currency of life.
Yeah, that's good.
That is pretty good. So we're stopping here at page 24. And when we pick up the next time, the more electrons you get from nature, the less you need from food. Ooh, you hear
Ooh,
that?
good
So,
one.
it's kind of funny because I don't often get hungry like I used to. And I think it's because I spend more time going out at least 3, 4 times a day, getting sunlight first thing in the
Yes.
morning, late morning, midday.
Mhm.
I try to sometimes in between my Zoom calls, I run down the stairs. I literally run on the grass. I go touch a tree or a palm tree. And then I come back up just to get a little bit of sunlight, a little fresh air, and then to get grounded. But I noticed that I don't need to eat as much as well.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
So
I can see how that would happen. It,
yeah,
it kind of makes sense. And then we're drinking the water, so we're hydrating.
yeah,
And
yeah, that really helps
probably the
too.
combination of all of these things. I know with me, it's the same thing. I would know if I got hungry because my blood sugar would just be ready to have some food. But I'm not having that like that anymore. It's
That's like more balanced, huh?
it's much more balanced. Yes, much
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, and I don't get famished. There was a time when I used to be so famished, but I don't really, get famished or anything like that. It's kind of a steadier.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
It is fun. Okay, my friends and gems. So there you have it. We just finished page 23 and the top of 24. When we return next time to revisit the remainder of this book, we'll be on page 24. The more electrons you get from nature, the less you need from food. You will learn more about that when we return. For now, I say ciao for now, my friends and
Oh,
gems.
everybody. Bye
Have
bye.
a great evening and do hit that like button. Hit that notification bell so that the next time the next video comes up, you will be notified. And do share this video with a friend that you think might benefit from this information. And if you want to learn more about these cell activation patches, you want to join us either at 2 p.m. Pacific time or 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every day, basically Monday through Saturday, except we don't do Friday and Saturday nights. We don't do the 7 p.m. because I do have a life. But we do. Actually, this weekend I won't be doing I'll be doing the 2 o'clock. I won't be doing later in the day because I'm going to an event, but it doesn't start. I don't have to leave here till 4. But yes, my friends and gems, we are here to answer your questions. If you want to join the Telegram group, you can check the link below, the Telegram group for those of you who aren't on the patches yet, but still want to get more information. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. Okay, toodaloo. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. See you tomorrow.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.